Well, Joe Smith, I'm sorry that we had to do our first interview under this circumstance.
Oh, man, it's all good.
Because you've had an exceptional career.
I appreciate it.
A long career. You played with some of the all-time greats. But ultimately, this just becomes a part of your story, and you'll be surprised how many men have gone through similar things with their woman.
Right.
They just don't talk about it. It's not all over ESPN and Twitter right now, but everyone's been betrayed in some way by someone very close to them, by their wife or their girlfriend or their boyfriend or husband or whatever else.
Right.
But we just don't get to hear about it. So as much as people are running their mouth and, taking shots at you, 99% of those people have gone through something similar in their own life. And ultimately, after the dust settles, you're going to see a lot more compassion and understanding and people approaching you and saying, thank you. Watching you go through it made me feel a little bit better about what I went through.
Right.
And like I said in the very beginning, regardless of whether you choose to stay, or divorce, it's a unique relationship and it's a marriage and it's a partnership. And the only thing that matters is what you two decide amongst each other. And nobody could give you advice as to what to do. Not me, not your family, not the internet, not your friends, not nobody. You guys have to decide what's best for you. I've seen all types of very, left field kind of relationships. Like my friend Adam22, he does adult scenes with his wife. And she just did a scene with another man. You know what I mean? They made millions of dollars off this scene.
Right.
And people are calling him a cuckold and whatever else. And he's like, man, I'm not tripping. We're all good with it. I don't care what everyone else says. We're good. We're in a loving, committed relationship. What committed means to them. And it doesn't matter. And I think that once you actually own that and don't try to avoid it or run from it and just accept it for what it is, then you could actually figure out what the next step that actually works for you is. Not what other people think should work for you, but what works for you and what works for Keisha, whatever that may be. And whatever you guys decide, just know I'll be very supportive of your decision.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Joe, man, I appreciate you coming in, man. Wish you all the best. I'm looking to see it. Personally, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be 100. Personally, I think that things are going to be improving for you as opposed to decreasing for you because of this. Because when they say all publicity is good publicity, I believe that's true. And once the dust settles, a lot more people know who you are. You're going to get a lot more opportunities. I mean, this interview is an example of one of those opportunities.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely. People are going to remember who you are, and there's going to be business opportunities, social opportunities, or whatever else just because you're now in the public eye. And I think ultimately when you look back on this a year or two later, you're going to be like, yeah, it was rough during the time, but I'm actually glad it happened.
Right.
So that's what it is. I know, man. It's tough. I know. Right now, listen, I'm a public figure as well. I've had situations where people try to cancel me and everything else like that. And it's rough during the time because you feel like everyone's turning against you. Your friends are turning against you. They're making videos about you from personal conversations. And you're like, oh, man, I thought it right, I thought this was my man. Like, oh, word? Like you taking personal information out, putting it out there, and it's affecting your family and everything else like that. And it's tough when you're in the middle of it. When you look back on it, when I look back on my situation, it actually, my relationships are now stronger. I now know who my real friends are.
Right.
I see the people that stuck by me.
Right.
And those I realize are my real friends. And the people who didn't stick by me, I'm glad that a situation like that got them out of my life.
Got them out, yeah. Pushed them out.
And it caused me to kind of rethink my company and the structure. And now we have a much stronger company on top of it. So like I said, it's tough when you're going through it. But in retrospect, it usually ends up net positive.
I appreciate it.
Of course, man. Of course. Until next time, man. Peace.